You know what it's like? You're on a lovely, quiet, free-flowing motorway, middle of the day, and then all of a sudden you see ahead of you 60, 50, 40. If I was to tell you that that was deliberate and that congestion creation was deliberate, you probably wouldn't believe me. But in this video, I'm going to tell you the truth about national highways and why their bubble needs to be burst. And it's all for your safety, apparently. I'm on the M25 between the M1 going anti-clockwise around to Heathrow. The time is 10:35 in the morning, so I'm not in the rush hour. And I'm coming up to some signs that say it's gone from 70 to 60, and I can see on my Waze that in a minute there's a lot of traffic ahead. There's a red line on Waze which suggests it's going to be congested. Now we're gone from 70 to 60, there's a gantry sign for 60 there, and the next one is a gantry sign to 50, and I can guarantee you that the next one will be 40. I'm not there yet, but I know it will be because it does this every single day of the week. So as I say, we're not in the rush hour, so there should be no reason for this, but I'll tell you what it is, okay? You're driving along a completely free running motorway and you get 70, 60, 50, 40. Now, national highways do this deliberately. They make you think that it's 40 miles an hour because there's congestion, but I can tell you it's not. They've made it 40 miles an hour, so it's not 40 miles an hour because there's congestion. There is congestion because they've made it 40 miles an hour. Now, you might ask why I know this and why I believe this is true. Several years ago, I had two Highways England staff in my car. They both worked for Highways England, which is now National Highways. And I was taking them to Heathrow, and we got round the M25 towards the M40, sorry. And I said to them, why does the traffic always slow down here? Why does it always back up here? And they said, we slow the traffic down. I said, why? Oh, because we consider the off-slips and the on-slips to be dangerous. Despite the fact that they're designed and engineered by experts in their field, traffic management experts, for the curvature and everything to be perfect for vehicles to handle them at 70 miles an hour. So I said, but don't you realise that the risks that causes? And they went, like what? I said, well, frustration. Drivers get frustrated because they can see that there's no reason to be slowed down. And they go, well, both of them said simultaneously, well, they shouldn't get frustrated. I said, but they do get frustrated. And I said, the other thing is that many times I've been coming around to Heathrow on the M25, and it's been that bad that Waze, the Smart Nav app called Waze, has taken me off through Maple Cross, Denham, Uxbridge, Stockley Park into Heathrow that way. So it takes me off of a perfectly good 4-lane motorway, which is built to get vehicles through, swiftly, and it takes me through villages and towns where there's OAPs on the pavement, there's mums pushing buggies, there's cyclists, there's shops in close proximity. So you're taking the risk off the motorways and putting them through these little villages where there's obviously more pollution as well. And I said, when it's slowed down to 40 miles an hour, it doesn't actually flow at 40. You'll see in a minute it will come to a stop, because we always do. I know it. I know this road like the back of my hand. And so when my vehicle is travelling at 70 miles an hour, I'm getting about 64, 65 miles to the gallon. But when it slows down to, when it does this, it doesn't just roll at 40. It goes from 40 to 20 to stationary, back up to 40 again, back down to 30. And so my vehicle is much less fuel efficient, which obviously is creating more pollution. I said, but the biggest thing that happens when you do this, when you slow the traffic down like this, is that when drivers are driving at 70 miles an hour on a motorway, they generally don't touch their phone. I know some do because I've seen them. I've passed people in the middle lane or lane 3 or 4, 60 miles an hour, completely in their own little world, in their own bubble, and you can see they're clearly using their mobile phone, texting or sending that very important WhatsApp message or whatever they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. And I said to them that what happens is when vehicles slow down from 70 to 40, they then feel it's safe to send that all-important text message. So what they do is they then create a longer stopping distance, mostly, some of them do, but some don't. And the ones that don't are the ones that cause the minor accidents, which you get along this section of motorway all the time. And there's been one this morning. Some colleagues on a driver's chat group I've got were commenting that between 16 and 17 was stationary because there's been an accident. And that, I guarantee that will be a minor rear end bump where a car's been following someone, the guy's been texting or the woman's been texting, and they've not stopped in time, bang, they've hit the back of the car. Now, national highways are accountable and answerable for what they call KSI incidents, killed or seriously injured. So now, obviously, killed or seriously injured incidents usually are as a result of speed. So national highways know that their smart motorway network is dangerous, especially the all-lane running sections where they've taken the hard shoulder and make it a live lane. There's nowhere for a broken down vehicle to stop except for in the emergency refuge areas, which are spaced not very close. And of course, if a vehicle's in an emergency refuge area and someone needs to get into, they can't because it's blocked. So this practice that national highways do is dangerous. Now, because when they slow the traffic down and make you think that it's because there's a sheer volume of traffic, it then pinpricks us and they say, oh, you know, this is all about vehicle use, there's too many people using vehicles, you know, it's damaging the climate, blah, 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 there's too many vehicles on the road, and it's guilt-tripping drivers. But what they're doing is they're bunching all the traffic together so that any incidents they do get are minor. Okay, so you might get a rear end shunt, which means there's a bit of bumper damage, maybe bonnet damage, rear end to a car. The cars then stop in whichever lane it is, and of course then they send the highways agency vehicles out, emergency services if they need to, close a couple of lanes, and there's absolute chaos. It's motorway misery. So that's why they do it. That's exactly why they do it. If they left the motorway running at 70 miles an hour, it would flow much freer. Now you see there's a vehicle on the left there, that's past a refuge area, having a tyre changed. I do wonder whether that tyre will then be left on the hard shoulder. You probably see there's lots of tyres. There's just one up on the embankment that we've just passed there, where you know they come off cars, they're replaced like that one was, and the fitter, instead of taking it because they have to pay for these tyres to be disposed of, they'll just throw it over the barrier. And I had an incident back in the spring. It's now December. I had an incident back in the spring where I was coming up the M1 at night, about 10 at night, and I suddenly hit a tyre that was laying in the outside lane. I was doing 70 miles an hour, passing vehicles, bang, this tyre went under the car, causing £365 worth of damage. My car was off the road for 2 days. So although they think they're being clever at what they're doing, it's actually quite dangerous. And of course, what happens is now you get stationary traffic like this, people get frustrated. I always stay in lane 1, the inside lane of the motorway, because I find that moves quicker. But you see there's a car there just changed ahead of me. He's just gone from lane 1 to 2 because he thinks it's moving quicker. And you'll see this a lot. You'll see them darting from lane to lane, switching lanes at the last minute, which of course is dangerous. It's a hazard. And that in itself causes accidents. So when national highways do this, I believe it causes more danger than it solves. But of course their figures look good because at the end of the year they can turn around and say, oh yes, on our network we've had less KSI incidents this year, and all their figures look good. But they've had loads and loads and loads of minor bumps where people have run into the back of one another or they've been switching lanes. And I believe this practice needs to be known about because I think it's shocking. It's an abuse of power. One of my old clients said to me a few years ago, he said, what they do, it's an abuse of power because the national speed limit is 70 miles an hour. And of course, National Highways is a quango. It's been set up to run the motorways. So now, as a consequence, you know, my journey from home to Heathrow used to take an hour. It now takes between an hour and 10 minutes and an hour and 40 minutes. And today it's an hour and 40 minutes. And as you can see, there is no reason, apart from that van that was parked back up the road there, changing that tyre on that car, there is no reason for this to be 40 miles an hour. If you live near a motorway or you drive on a motorway and you've experienced this, I'd like to see your comments. You know, put some comments in there, and I try to reply to as many as I can. Obviously, I do get quite a lot of comments across the YouTube platforms that I've got. But I would like to know if you've got a motorway near you where you feel this happens all the time. Yeah, please leave the comments below, and thank you for following. And of course, if you do want to subscribe to the channel, don't forget to click the subscribe button, but also the bell button as well, so that you get notified when my next video goes live, because I've got a lot to talk about, lots of different subjects, mainly around driving and motorway use, and obviously my advanced driving tips that I give occasionally on journeys that I feel is appropriate. So thanks for watching, thanks for following, and I'll see you on the next one.